The stars above the barren colony world shone cold and distant. For the people living there, those stars were both a comfort and a curse. They reminded them that somewhere, far away, other worlds might be alive, warm, and full of hope. But hey, on this lonely rock, hope was a rare thing. Generations had passed since the first settlers arrived. Their ancestors had come with dreams of building a new future, of planting green fields under strange skies. But dreams had turned to dust. Crops failed, machines rusted, and the grand colony cities spoken of in history never came to life. The people lived now in crumbling shelters, their machines patched with whatever scraps they could find. No ship from Earth had ever returned. No message. No answer to the signals the colonists sent. Parents told their children that maybe one day Earth would remember them. But the children grew into adults, and then into elders, and no ship ever came. Many began to whisper that Earth had abandoned them, left them to die forgotten among the stars. In the heart of the colony, the great tower of the old communication center still stood. Its antennas reached to the sky like broken fingers. Every night, an old technician named Rummy sent signals into the void. He had done so for 30 years. His hair had gone gray. His hands shook, but still he pressed the warm buttons, sending the same message. "This is Colony E47. We are alive. We need help." But no reply ever came. Only silence. The silence was the hardest part. Silence made people believe Earth was gone. Or worse, it had chosen to forget them. Children grew up hearing the same bedtime stories. Stories about blue oceans, forests of green, and skies full of birds. They called Earth a fairy world, a place of myth no different from the tales of heroes and monsters. But deep in their hearts, the adults remembered, and the silence made that memory hurt like a wound that would not heal. One cold night, the silence was broken. It began with a strange sound from the sky. The sound was not thunder, not wind. It was something else, something unnatural. The old radios in the colony crackled with static. The stars above seemed to shimmer, as if something large was moving behind them. At the communication tower, Rummy froze as his screens lit up with signals he had never seen before. Jagged lines ran across the monitors. Alarms that had been silent for decades began to shriek. He whispered to himself, his voice trembling, "It's not Earth. No, this is something else." Word spread quickly through the settlement. People rushed out of their shelters, staring upward. The children pointed, their eyes wide with fear and excitement. The sky itself seemed alive, streaked with strange lights, colors twisting in ways no human eye had ever seen. Then the voices came. A deep, metallic sound thundered across the radio waves. The language was not human. Harsh and alien syllables scratched at the ears, a voice that was not meant for human throats. Even though no one understood the words, the meaning was clear. It was a warning, a threat. The colony's leaders gathered in the central hall. They argued, their voices rising in panic. Some believed it was a natural phenomenon. Others knew better. The fear in their eyes betrayed the truth they would not say aloud. These were aliens. The first ships appeared an hour later. They were not like human ships, no smooth steel, no glowing engines. These were jagged, dark shapes, moving like predators across the stars. Their hulls pulsed with an unnatural light, as if alive. The colonists had no fleet, no soldiers, no weapons strong enough to fight such ships. They had only old mining craft and a few ground lasers built long ago to protect against meteors. Against a fleet of warships, they were helpless. From the alien flagship, a signal was sent directly to the colony's main tower. The translator system struggled to process the words, twisting them into broken human speech. The message was short. Cold. You will serve, or you will die. The whole fell silent. Mothers clutched their children. Men clenched their fists, though they knew fists could not fight starships. The old technician Rummy stared at the screen, his face pale as death. For centuries, they had feared being abandoned. Now they faced something worse, not abandonment, but conquest. That night, the colony's skies burned with the glow of alien engines. The ground shook as the ships passed overhead, casting shadows across the broken buildings. The people huddled together, waiting for the end. And yet, deep within the silence of space, something else was moving. Far beyond the colony's scanners, a signal stirred. A massive shape drifted in the void, hidden until now. Its engines burned with human fire. Its hull carried scars of old wars. Across its side, a name glowed in steel letters, letters no colonist had seen for generations. The colony did not know it yet, but the silence was finally over. Something was coming, and it was human. The colony woke to fear. Dawn came, but it brought no comfort. The alien ship still hung above the skies like dark birds waiting to strike. Their jagged shapes cast shadows across the colony's ruins. No one went to the fields. No one worked the machines. People only stared upward, waiting for death to fall. In the central hall, the leaders gathered again. Their faces were pale, their voices sharp with panic. The alien message played on repeat through the old speakers. You will serve, or you will die. The words scratched like claws. The translator gave them in a broken, twisted human tongue, but the meaning was crystal clear. One leader, a tall man named Merrick, slammed his fist on the table. We cannot fight them. Look at their ships. If we resist, they will burn us all. Another, a woman named Kira, rose to her feet. Her eyes were fierce, though her hands shook. And if we kneel, what then? Slavery? Chains around our children's necks? I would rather die free. The hall filled with voices, fear, anger, despair. Some begged to surrender, to bow before the aliens if it meant survival. Others shouted that death was better than chains. Meanwhile, in the communication tower, old Rummy kept his eyes on the screens. He had seen the ships up close through his instruments. He whispered to himself as he studied their movements. They are not here for peace. They came prepared. They know we are weak. His voice cracked with sorrow. We have no chance. Outside, the children gathered in groups, watching the sky. They did not understand politics, but they understood fear. They pointed at the glowing alien vessels and asked questions their parents could not answer. That evening, the alien fleet moved closer. The ground shook as one of their smaller ships descended, landing just beyond the colony perimeter. Dust and smoke rose as its massive legs crushed the earth. The people watched from behind barricades. Weapons were raised, old rifles, hunting bows, even sharpened tools. They knew these would do nothing, but it was all they had. The alien ramp hissed open, and for the first time, humans saw the enemy face to face. The aliens were tall, their skin dark and rough like stone. Their eyes glowed faintly, burning like embers. They wore armor that seemed to grow out of their bodies, sharp and jagged. They moved with confidence, as predators among prey. The leader of the alien group stepped forward, his voice booming through a device on his chest. This world belongs to us now. You will serve the Empire. Work for us. Give us your resources. Obey our will. Refuse. He lifted a weapon unlike anything the colonists had ever seen, long, cruel, and humming with deadly power. And you will be destroyed. The crowd trembled. Some dropped their weapons. Mothers pulled their children back. The leaders of the colony stepped forward to speak, but the alien ignored them. Instead, he pointed to the sky. Above, more alien ships shifted into formation, their weapons glowing. A demonstration. A threat. A streak of fire burned across the heavens. One of the alien ships fired without warning. The beam struck the far side of the colony, hitting an empty factory. In a flash of light, the building vanished, melted into molten metal and dust. The colonists screamed. The aliens did not flinch. The message was clear. They could destroy everything in seconds. Panic spread. People cried out for mercy, begging the aliens to stop. Others cursed them, shouting that humanity would never kneel. The alien leader only smiled, a cool twist of his stone-like face. Tomorrow, he said, you will give us your answer. Serve or die. The aliens returned to their ship. The ramp closed, and the vessel rose into the air, leaving behind the smell of ash and smoke. Night fell heavy over the colony. Fires burned where the factory had once stood. Families gathered close, whispering prayers to a silent sky. In the hall, Merrick spoke again. We cannot win. We must surrender. At least then, some of us will live. Kira stood, her face lit by the fire outside. Live as slaves? Is that life? No. If we give them everything, we are already dead. The leaders argued long into the night. but no answer came. The people waited in fear, knowing dawn would bring their doom. Far away, beyond the sight of the alien fleet, something stirred again in the void. A massive shadow drifted closer, silent and unseen. Its engines pulsed with human fire. Its weapons, long dormant, hummed with awakening power. Inside that warship, a crew prepared for battle. They had tracked the alien fleet for weeks. Now they had found what they were looking for, a forgotten human colony, under threat. The captain stood at the command deck, his voice steady. The colonists don't know we're here yet. But tomorrow, when those monsters demand surrender, we will answer for them. The warship turned its prow toward the colony, hidden in the void. For the first time in centuries, the forgotten world was no longer alone. Morning came heavy with fear. The people of Colony E-47 gathered in the central square. The air was cold, the sky gray, but their eyes were fixed on the heavens where the alien ships waited. Black silhouettes circled like vultures. At any moment, death could fall. The colony leaders stood at the front. Merrick's face was hard, his jaw set in grim resolve. Kira stood beside him, her eyes blazing with quiet defiance. Behind them, families clutched one another, waiting for the choice no one wanted to make, surrender or death. The alien flagship descended slowly, its monstrous form blotting out the rising sun. Its shadow fell across the colony like a shroud. Engines roared, dust and ash swirled through the streets. The ramp opened. Again, the aliens stepped forth, towering creatures of stone and fire, weapons glowing. Their leader raised his voice, amplified by his strange device. "Choose," he thundered. "Serve the Empire, or be destroyed." The crowd trembled. Some fell to their knees. Others shouted in anger, but their voices were drowned by fear. Mothers clutched children. Old men lowered their heads. Merrick stepped forward, his voice breaking. "Please, spare us. We will." But before he could finish, a sound tore through the sky. It was not alien. It was not thunder. It was something else, something powerful, deep and sharp, like the roar of 1,000 engines. Every head turned upward. From the void above the alien fleet, the darkness shifted. Space itself seemed to ripple and tear. Then, with a burst of blinding light, a massive vessel emerged. It was not alien. It was human. The warship slid out of the void like a predator from the deep sea. Its black steel hull gleamed under the light of the colony's sun. Its engines burned with a fierce, blue fire. Its cannons, rows upon rows of them, glowed with energy. Across its side, enormous letters shone in white, TSS Soul's Wrath. The colonists gasped. Some screamed. Others fell silent, unable to believe their eyes. For generations, Earth had been nothing but a memory, a dream told to children. And now, before them, was proof, real, steel, alive. The aliens staggered back in shock. Their leader snarled, his ember eyes narrowing. From the human warship, a voice boomed across every channel, every radio, every speaker in the colony. A voice that was deep, calm, and unmistakably human. "This colony is under Terran protection. Withdraw now, or face destruction." The words echoed through the square. For the first time in centuries, the colonists heard the voice of Earth. Tears filled old Rummy's eyes. His shaking hands clutched the radio tower railing as he whispered, "They came after all this time. They came." Children stared in awe, their fear replaced by wonder. Kira's lips curved into the first true smile she had worn in years. Even Merrick, the man who had begged for surrender, stood frozen, his mouth open in disbelief. The alien leader roared, his voice filled with rage. "This world is ours. You are too late, Terran. Leave or be destroyed." In answer, the warship's cannon shifted, aiming directly at the alien fleet. The silence that followed was heavier than any words. The colonists felt it in their bones, in their very souls. Humanity had returned, not weak, not broken, but armed and unafraid. The aliens, for the first time, hesitated. They had expected an easy conquest, prey without protection. Now they faced the hunters. The captain of Soul's Wrath spoke again, his voice steady as stone. "We do not abandon our own. This colony belongs to humanity, and we are here to defend it." A roar rose from the colonists. Cheers, Shouts, cries of joy. People lifted their hands, fists raised toward the sky. Children laughed through tears. Hope, long dead, burst back into life. But the aliens were not finished. Their ships tightened formation, weapons glowing brighter. The alien leader pointed his jagged blade toward the sky. "Then you will die with them," he bellowed. The alien fleet began to move, circling, preparing to strike. In the colony square, the people clung to one another as fear returned. The sight of the warship gave them hope, but hope alone could not stop the alien firepower. Inside Solsroth, alarms blared. The crew moved swiftly, preparing for battle. Officers called out positions. Weapons charged. Shields came online. The captain stood at the center, his eyes locked on the alien fleet. "They think we're weak," he said. "They think we've forgotten how to fight. Let's remind them who we are." His crew responded as one. "Yes, Captain." The warship shifted, its massive guns humming with deadly energy. On the ground, Kira whispered to the people around her, her voice filled with pride. "Do you see? We were never abandoned. Humanity is with us." Rummy wiped his tears and nodded. "Yes, yes, at last." Above them, the sky blazed as the first shots of battle prepared to be fired. The forgotten colony was no longer alone. The war had begun. The Zurich's attack had left the galaxy shaken. An entire fleet had vanished in an instant, returned to its home system as if by unseen hands. No human weapons had been fired. No human soldiers had marched. And yet, the Zurichs were humiliated. The Council tried to dismiss it as exaggeration, but whispers spread too quickly. Across trading posts, military stations, and border colonies, one question echoed. What did humanity just do? The Council decided they needed proof. They would not accept rumors or stories told by terrified survivors. They wanted a test, a controlled one. A plan was drawn in secret. A coalition of 3 powerful species, the winged Thalari, the shadow-born Veari, and the reptilian Dract, agreed to strike another human colony. This time, every detail will be recorded, every moment captured. The target was a settlement on a small frozen moon, far from Earth, far from any major fleet, a place the Council believed was weak. The attackers told themselves they were not breaking the banishment order. They said it was only an inspection. But in their hearts, they wanted humanity exposed. The fleet arrived in silence. Dozens of ships surrounded the moon, their weapons glowing. From orbit, they saw the human colony, a cluster of domes beneath the icy surface, lights glowing faintly in the dark. Simple, fragile, defenseless. The Thalari commander sneered. "See? They are nothing without their boasts. A few homes in the ice. They will shatter like glass." The Veari ships began to charge their void cannons. The Drac prepared plasma torpedoes. And on the moon below, the humans knew. Inside the colony's command dome, alarms rang. Men and women rushed to stations, their faces pale but steady. They knew the Council would not protect them. They knew no help was coming. But they did not panic. They had been trained for this moment. The colony leader, a woman with silver hair and sharp eyes, stood at the center of the command hall. Her voice was calm. "Activate the shield." A deep hum filled the colony. The ice around them cracked, glowing with lines of energy. A dome of light expanded outward, encasing the entire settlement. When the first Veari cannon fired, the void energy beam hit the shield and fizzled into sparks. Plasma torpedoes followed, exploding harmlessly against the barrier. The fleet attacked again. Harder, faster, but the shield did not break. The Drac commander roared in anger. "Impossible! No shield can take this much fire." But it held. And then, something stranger happened. The human shield did not just block. It studded. Invisible threads of light reached out, scanning the enemy ships. Their systems flickered. Weapons shut down. Engines stuttered. One by one, alien ships began to drift powerless. The Thalari panicked. Retreat! Retreat! But retreat was impossible. Space bent around them, folding like liquid. The stars themselves shifted. In the blink of an eye, the entire alien fleet was gone. They reappeared light years away, stranded on the edge of dead space, far from any star, far from any rescue. Every log, every record, every weapon they carried was erased. Only their memories remained, and even those felt blurred, like a dream slipping away. The humans did not pursue. They did not fire a single shot. Their colony remained intact, glowing under its shield as if nothing had happened. Back in the council, the returning fleet screamed of terror. Some claimed the humans had rewritten space itself. Others swore time had been broken, but no one could prove it. No recording survived. No black boxes remained. Only one truth was clear. Humanity had passed the test, and the galaxy had failed it. Inside the council chamber, panic spread. If humans could defend even the smallest colony against 3 fleets, what could their true armies do? If they could bend space, erase records, and send ships across light years with a thought, what else were they hiding? The shattered being Veari whispered, its smoky body trembling. We tried to cage them, and instead we have seen the bars bend. They are not the ones trapped. We are. Some demanded war, an immediate strike against Earth before it grew stronger. Others demanded peace, fearing that war would mean extinction. The unity that once banished Earth was breaking. And far away, the human ambassador received a report. He did not smile. He did not boast. He only whispered to himself. Now they begin to understand. The council was in chaos. For centuries, alien empires had ruled with calm authority. Their laws were final, their judgments unshaken. But now, the name human was a storm that shook the very walls of power. The Zyrix fleet had been humiliated. The Thelari, Veari, and Drak had been scattered like dust. Every test, every strike, every attempt to prove human weakness had ended in silence and shame. The galaxy whispered, if this is what humans do in defense, what happens if they decide to attack? The council demanded answers. They summoned the human ambassador once again, dragging him back to stand before them. This time, the chamber was not filled with laughter or arrogance. It was filled with unease. The rulers leaned forward, their voices low, their eyes sharp. The stone-skinned giant spoke first, its voice heavy as thunder. Human, we have seen your power. We have seen your colonies endure. Tell us, what is it you truly want? The man from Earth stood calm, as always. His hands rested at his sides. His face was unreadable. When he spoke, his words were not loud, but they struck like iron. We wanted peace. The chamber stirred. We came to the stars not to conquer, but to survive. We built colonies because our world is small, fragile. We search the dark not for war, but for hope. His voice hardened. But every time we rose, someone tried to push us down. Every time we reached, someone tried to cut our hand. You banish us, you test us, you strike us, yet you wonder why we fight back. His eyes swept across the chamber, piercing every ruler. We fight because we must, and when we fight, we do not stop. The chamber fell silent. Even the shadows seemed to pause. The human ambassador lifted his hand, and the star map above them flickered. With a gesture, it changed, not the council's map, but Earth's. It showed the history of humanity's survival. Ice ages sweeping across their planet. Civilizations falling, yet rebuilding. Plagues that killed millions, yet failed to end them. Wars that turned cities to ash, yet left survivors who rose stronger. Every age, every scar, every loss, they endured. You fear us because you think we are reckless, the human said. You are wrong. We are resilient. We do not end. Fire cannot erase us. Darkness cannot bury us. Even death itself has never broken us. The winged Thelari hissed in anger. You threaten us, human. The man shook his head slowly. No, I warn you. The word struck deeper than any threat, because a threat could be ignored, but a warning meant truth. The ambassador's voice dropped to a calm, chilling tone. You banish us today. You cut us off. But remember this, we survive everywhere. You drive us into the void. We will build in the void. You throw us into the dark. We will light the dark. You shut every gate. We will carve new paths. We will endure when your empires are dust, when your thrones are broken, when your stars have faded. He paused, letting the words sink into every mind, every heart, every fear. This is not arrogance. This is history. This is who we are. The council sat frozen. Some rulers felt rage burning in their chests, furious at such defiance. Others felt a weight in their hearts, a quiet dread they could not shake. The shadow-being Veari whispered softly, trembling, "If they are banished, they will only grow stronger. If they are cast away, they will return. Perhaps they should never have been pushed." But the Falarai screamed, wings flaring. No, they must be destroyed now, before they spread further. The chamber erupted into chaos again, some shouting for war, some shouting for peace, none agreeing. The unity that had once declared Earth banished was shattered. The human ambassador watched them fight among themselves. He did not raise his voice. He did not try to persuade. He had already said enough. He simply stood in silence, letting his words echo in their minds, a warning that would never leave them. Far from the council, in the hidden stations of humanity, messages spread across encrypted networks. The ambassador's words reached soldiers on distant moons, engineers in secret stations, families in fragile colonies, and every human who heard them felt the same fire waken in their chest. They were not weak. They were not helpless. They were not afraid. They were human, and soon the galaxy would understand what that truly meant. The chamber had never been so divided. The Thelarai shrieked for war, demanding fleets to crush humanity before it spread further. The Dract roared for blood, their voices echoing like beasts in the dark. The Xerics wanted revenge for their broken fleets, but others hesitated. The Veari whispered of unseen dangers. The stone-skinned giant urged caution. And even among the proudest empires, doubt flickered like cracks in ancient walls. The council, once united in its authority, was breaking apart. Amid the chaos, the doors to the chamber opened. A soundless hush fell as another figure entered, an outsider, cloaked in silver, with a presence that drew every eye. The alien was old, older than the oldest empire present. Its skin shimmered like molten glass, its voice 1,000 echoes layered as one. The council bowed slightly, even the fiercest rulers lowering their gaze. For this was no ordinary being. This was an archivist, keeper of ancient records, watcher of civilizations long turned to dust. The archivist spoke. "You speak of destroying the humans, but you do not yet understand what they are." The rulers stirred uneasily. The archivist raised a hand, and the star map shifted again. It did not show battles or colonies. It showed patterns, cycles of rise and fall across the ages. Empires swelling like storms, then crumbling into silence. The Xerics, the Dract, the Thalarai, all of them were just points in the cycle. But humans did not follow the pattern. They endured where others collapsed. They rose faster than they should. They rebuilt when they should have vanished. The archivist's voice carried weight heavier than stone. "I have seen countless races burn bright and fade. But humans," a pause, "humans burn, yet they do not fade. They should not exist, and yet they do. They are the unbroken thread in the tapestry of time." The council murmured in fear. Some did not want to believe. Others could not deny. The human ambassador stood silent, watching. He had not asked for this defense, yet it was being spoken by one of the galaxy's oldest voices. And then the archivist made the unthinkable offer. The humans should not be destroyed. They should not be banished. They should be. The chamber leaned forward, welcomed. Shock rippled through the council. The Thalarai hissed in outrage. "Welcome them? Into our council? Into our power? They are chaos. They are danger." The Xerics howled. Their kind humiliated our fleets. But the archivist did not flinch. "Yes, and that is why they must be welcomed. You fear them because they fight as no other race fights. You hate them because they rise when all logic says they should fall. But mark this, if you make them enemies, they will return one day as conquerors. If you make them allies, they will become the shield that holds this galaxy together." The chamber fell into stunned silence. For the first time, the rulers looked at the human ambassador not as prey, not as an outcast, but as something else, something dangerous, and perhaps necessary. The ambassador's expression did not change. His voice was calm when he finally spoke. "You cast us out. You called us fragile. You tried to break us. And now, you ask us to join you." The winged Thalarai spat. "Do not trust them. They will twist the offer, take our secrets, and turn them into weapons. The stone-skinned giant rumbled. Perhaps, but perhaps they will also give us strength we do not have. The human ambassador stepped forward, his presence unshaken. You say you wish to welcome us. Tell me then, what is your welcome worth? The question cut deep. Was it true offer of peace, or just fear disguised as kindness? The council was forced to confront itself. Did they seek alliance or control? The archivist's voice rang out again. This is the moment that will shape your future. Humans are no longer a shadow on the edge of your maps. They are here. They will not vanish. Choose now, war, which you cannot win, or alliance, which may save you all. The chamber broke once more into shouting. The Thalari demanded extermination. The Xerics wanted blood. But others, the Veari, the stone giants, even fragment of the Dract, spoke of caution, of survival, of opportunity. The debate raged long into the hours, until at last silence fell again. The decision was not final, but the seed had been planted. For the first time in history, the possibility stood. Humanity, not as an exile, not as prey, but as an equal. The ambassador turned to leave, but before he stepped out of the chamber, he looked back once more. His words were simple, but they struck like lightning. Do not mistake fear for friendship. If you truly wish for peace, prove it, for humanity does not bow, we choose. And with that, he walked into the shadows, leaving the council to wrestle with a choice that could change the galaxy forever. The council chamber was silent after the human ambassador's words faded. Not a single alien ruler spoke. Not a single breath dared to break the stillness. For the first time in millennia, the council did not feel like masters of the galaxy. They felt like prey staring into the eyes of a predator that refused to bow. But silence could not last. The Thalari erupted first, wings flaring, their sharp voices cutting the air. This is madness. Humans cannot be trusted. They will spread like fire until all is ash. The Xerics slammed their claws against the floor. They humiliated us once. We will not allow them to rise again. But then, the deep rumble of the stone-skinned giant echoed through the chamber. Perhaps it is not madness. Perhaps it is wisdom. The archivist has spoken. The humans are not like us. They cannot be erased. To fight them is to invite our own ruin. Others joined the debate. The council fractured, each empire shouting over the other. Half demanded war. Half urged alliance. None could agree. And through it all, the human ambassador watched, silent, his face unreadable. Far away, across the stars, Earth prepared. Fleets rose quietly from their homeworld and colonies. Not in aggression, but readiness. Orbital stations pulsed with hidden energy. Carriers drifted through shadowed sectors. Sleeper ships awoke, engines humming with power. Humanity did not announce these moves. They did not boast. They simply waited, patient and cold. For centuries, they had been underestimated. That mistake would never happen again. Back in the council, a final vote was called. The archivist's voice carried above all others. You cannot banish them. You cannot destroy them. You can only choose, will they stand as your allies or as your enemy? The rulers cast their votes. Some voted for alliance. Some voted for war. But when the tallies glowed above the chamber, there was no clear winner. The galaxy was split down the center, fear on one side, hope on the other. The council had failed to decide. All eyes turned to the human ambassador. He was not supposed to speak again. He was not supposed to hold the power of choice. But in that moment, everyone knew the future rested on humanity's answer. The ambassador stepped forward. His voice was calm, but it carried a weight sharper than any blade. You have judged us. You have feared us. And now you ask what we will do. He paused, letting silence stretch, forcing them to lean in. We will not leave. We will not bow. We will not be banished from the stars we bled to reach. A murmur spread through the chamber. The ambassador raised his hand, silencing them all. If you wish for war, come. You will find us ready. If you wish for peace, come. You will find us willing. But know this, humanity does not wait for permission to exist. We choose our place, and we choose the stars. The chamber was stunned. Not a shout, not a protest, Not even the Thallaride dared to speak. For in those words, they all heard the same truth. Earth could not be erased. Humanity could not be chained. The galaxy had expected fear or fury. Instead, it found resolve, unyielding, unshakable. As the ambassador turned and left, the council erupted again, but it no longer mattered. Their voices were noise against the quiet strength humanity had shown. Outside, across the black sea of stars, fleets shifted into new formations. Colonies prepared. Engines burned. Humanity had made its choice. Not war, not peace. Something greater. Freedom. In the centuries to come, historians would call this the day everything changed. The day the galaxy learned that Earth could not be banished. The day humanity declared itself, not as a shadow on the edge of maps, but as a force that would shape the future. And though no one said it aloud, every ruler in that chamber felt the same silent truth. Humanity had left the galaxy speechless. But one day soon, humanity would lead it.